Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TFYLP. My name is Phil. I am joined tonight by Rick's feet.
Hi, everyone.
They were blurry feet, which
Hi. How are you?
may be better. Now they're in focus feet. And this is going to drive a whole new metric into our channel that I was not
The
anticipating.
feet thing? Yeah, the feet thing's huge.
Yeah.
Huge right now.
Before we finish tonight, can you just like walk on some eggs for me? And don't talk. Just like point the camera at your feet and walk on some eggs. Don't say anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll get to that after. That'll be like a behind the paywall thing. I'm also joined tonight by Peter, also known as Destron, also known as sometimes Destron.
Forever Destron.
Occasionally Destron.
Oh, I like that. Occasionally sounds more interesting. Occasionally Destron. All right. So, yeah. Rick is in bed. I don't know why Rick's in bed. I don't know why Rick does half the things he does. But
I had a long day today, and I do not feel like going downstairs and then getting the extension cord out so that I can, have the phone down there, and yeah. So I'm just gonna chill here in my relaxing area.
I mean, I'm in my happy place. I got toys all around me.
Yeah, I'm in my happy place because my wife and kids aren't here.
And I hear dogs barking in the background, and all your dogs are home, so that should make you happy.
No, that's my wife.
Oh. Okay.
She must have seen a squirrel outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the SNL bit where Tim Meadows is playing a census taker and Christopher Walken is the guy who's answering the door?
Geez. 2 to 50 people live here.
Yes. Wait, are you trying to say so your wife is a cougar? So, what happened last week? What did you guys all do some evening or maybe daytime last week?
I went and tried to order the Transformers golf merchandise that came out, and those $2,000 a piece clubs sold out just like that.
Do you think they made like 5 of them?
I don't know, but everything sold out instantly. I think the only thing I was able to get was a hat.
Yeah.
So, but I saw a movie.
Did you see Into the Spider-Verse 3 more times?
I saw Into the Spider-Verse, and then I saw Battle of the Rock Lords.
I apologize. Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter, how about you?
I saw my mom. It was my kid's birthday. I saw my best friend from high school. I met Sergeant Slaughter. I had breakfast with him. I bought some G.I. Joe stuff. I went to a museum, and then we planned for the show. This show, the thing we're doing now.
And what are we talking about tonight, Peter? What's the topic?
Troop builder reveals at Target.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to cap out at, I originally said, like, all right, I'll do 10 sets opened. But then I realized it came with both heads. So I think I'm going to have to do 10 and 10. And I'm just going to have a ton of Thundercrackers. Not Thundercrackers. Thunder Screams. I don't know.
I don't know what that. Why is it not more purpley or more teal or more any other color?
I don't know.
So
I think
bad.
I'm going to do 10 and 10, and then, obviously one sealed. And then I don't know what I'll do with the thunderstorms. I don't know. I'll do something with them. Because I like the troop build. But tonight's topic is our spoiler-filled opinions of Revenge of the Fallen.
No. So we're talking Rise of the Beast tonight. Talking Rise of the Beast. It's the newest, hottest thing. Everyone in Hollywood is buzzing about it. It is getting decent critic reviews, great fan reviews. Got #1 at the box office, which I am on record for saying I wasn't sure it would do it, and it barely squeaked it out. Across the Spider-Verse gave it its run for the money.
Yeah, so it got #1 at the box office, but I still think it's the least grossing opening weekend for a Transformers film since 2007.
It beat out domestically The Last Night and Bumblebee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know when you count international where Bumblebee and The Last Night came in, but domestically it beat 2 other of the films.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it beat a Bay movie, which is, not an easy hurdle to come over.
Yeah.
To overcome.
It beat an established franchise.
Yeah.
So, this is spoiler. We're going to talk movie plots and everything. So, skip ahead to next week if you don't want to be ruined.
Yeah.
But I saw the film. I took 8 people with me. I was
all of them by their own volition, or were you holding people hostage?
No. It was a little awkward. No, I had a bunch of kids with me. All my kids' I took my kids, and then all my kids' friends went, and my wife was there, and then we we saw the film. I wanted to see the movie with my kids. My kids are now 11 and 8, where they can fully enjoy a movie, from start to finish. I did take them to see Bumblebee, but I'm pretty sure Maddie fell asleep during it. Anyway, what I want to say overall about this film is that it came very close to giving me the feels. The same feels I got when I saw the 2007 film. And I guess what I mean by that is when I saw the 2007 film, I wasn't like, crap, they ruined it. I wasn't like, oh, that was crap. I'm like, wow, that was actually a fairly decent film. I really enjoyed that. I don't mind the changes they made to the character looks. I don't mind the human characters. And I don't mind the whole Allspark thing. And I enjoyed it. And that moment of discovery, that perfect scene where they're in the alleyway and Optimus Prime rolls up and all the Autobots transform around Not Spike. That was a great moment. And it had a certain emotional connection to it. And this film, Rise of the Beast, overall has that connection, but there's not one particular scene that I can point to and say, oh, that's the scene. It's an overall feel.
Peter, your take on this movie.
I enjoyed it. I haven't enjoyed a Transformers movie since I was a younger person. I don't want to say a child. I enjoyed parts of the first 3 movies, and I enjoyed most of Bumblebee, but I really enjoyed this movie. Someone in a group that we're in said Bumblebee walked so Rise of the Beasts could run, and I agree with that pretty strongly.
Wow.
It hit a lot of notes for me in terms of like Brick said, the feels. Character development was good on both sides of the ideological coin. You knew everyone's motivations. The action wasn't so choppy that you didn't know what was going on. Everyone had a look. Everyone had a voice. Everyone was fairly well developed. The humans weren't obnoxious. The humans were fun and interesting, and you were rooting for them. The robots were fun and interesting. They weren't just blobs of metal like me fight you, you fight me. Let's get the thing. There was a lot of get the thing. We got to get the thing. But I can forgive it because there was some motivation behind it. It felt more so than the last 14 or 15 movies. And we got to get the thing. And yeah, I walked away quite satisfied.
So I'm not saying this to play contrarian. I'm not saying this to give a hot take. I was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed by the movie. I would say it's my second favorite Transformers movie, but that's not a high bar to overcome. I would say this is second to Bumblebee, in my opinion. I thought Bumblebee did a better job with the characters all around. I felt this movie seemed, the word I keep coming back to is thin. I just felt like it didn't have the substance that I hoped it would have. Now, again, it is a Transformers movie, but you know, my friend, one of my other friends in a text chain said this was not Michael Bay bad, but it wasn't necessarily good from his opinion either. And from my friends like you guys, my other friends that are Transformers fans, I definitely know I'm in the minority with this take and this opinion, but I just felt it was a bit underwhelming.
You have angered me.
That's fine.
So what was it? I mean, I'll admit the movie was a little Bay. It had a little Bay going on in certain parts of it, but it felt like it did a good job of getting away from the Michael Bay stuff, and it wholeheartedly, retroactively makes Bumblebee a full reboot now.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially with the thing that we got at the end, which we'll get to. But
the whole story as well, Unicron.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So, what was there something very specific, or was it something overall that left you underwhelmed?
I felt the human characters were not bad, but I had a hard time empathizing with them. It felt a little forced. The sick brother thing is the sick family member. We've seen that. And honestly, the stakes of the movie had nothing to do with him saving his brother. You know,
that was his motivation. I think what you're saying is that you don't like minorities.
I usually don't say that in public, but I won't agree to that now.
All right.
No, I think what I'm trying to say is like I just felt like it was very simple in terms of what the plot was, which is fine. But it didn't grab me. I thought the visuals were great. I think you got some great Michael Bay-esque visuals, but better because it was cleaner and crisper. Like, you know, and unfortunately, some of the good visuals have been in some of the trailers. Like when you saw Nightbird swing Battle Trap around and he launches the missile at RC and Wheeljack, and the missile flies through. Like that was a really, really cool shot that unfortunately I've seen a dozen plus times.
Well, speaking of certain shots, there were more shots in the trailer of Optimus Primal in robot mode than there were in the actual film.
Yeah.
Which I was disappointed in.
There's already leaks coming out about some deleted scenes, some of which we got like glimpses of in the trailer, where Optimus Prime walk into a bus yard.
Okay. Well, I mean, there was some good cinematography going on for this film. There were some great angles, some great transformation sequences that we haven't seen. Usually, they stop and then they transform. This was they're running, there's action, and that action leads into the transformation, and then the vehicle keeps going, or vice versa. I love that. I thought visually it was great. When they get to the whole transport to oblivion thing at the end with Unicron and having to open the space bridge, that felt a little Dark of the Moon repeat. And it just, you know what it reminded me of? Remember that opening sequence
when Frodo had to throw the One Ring into the fiery pits of Mount Doom?
Well, now that you say
it was the Ultimate Doom, not Transport to Oblivion. Ultimate Doom parts 1 through 3, where they transport Cybertron.
All right, thank you, Professor. I think that whole sequence just looked a little like Man of Steel, like the opening on Krypton. That whole organic design just doesn't work for me for Transformers. It doesn't work for me. So I think we're starting off with all the things that we didn't like about the film. Peter, any main complaints about the film?
Rick's got a dogfighting ring in his basement. Don't worry about it.
It's not Rick. It's Michael Vick. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I have any complaints. I'll have to think of some. I was flabbergasted by how much I enjoyed this film, and someone mentioned, Ron mentioned in the chat that not everyone, not all the Maximals had great characterization, but for the ones that had lines, I understood their motivation. Rhinox and Cheetor didn't. I think they each had one line. Rhinox said like, "Okay," and then continued to smash things.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Rhinox actually transformed in the film. I wasn't expecting that. And
I was getting worried that they wouldn't. And Airazor didn't.
No, she didn't, and neither did Ape Link, which was an odd choice to put in the film. So again, spoilers, but Ape Link is the Maximal leader at the beginning of the film, and he kind of passes the torch on to Optimus Primal. I don't know if that's because they're both kind of gorilla bots. I don't know how that works. I feel like it's a little implied that since they're both gorillas, that they're the leaders of the animals. But the whole time I was
surprised. I was surprised they actually name dropped Ape Link. I was worried that they were just gonna like let you wonder and like, But then they just straight up said it, and I was like, yay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Does the Ape Link toy have the wrist blades as well? Or was that just solely for this movie?
I didn't know that there was an Ape Link toy.
I don't think we've seen it yet.
Like a modern one?
It's a remold.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think we've seen it yet.
Yeah.
I don't think it's leaked anywhere.
Correct.
But anyway, the whole thing with Ape Link was, I kept thinking, man, that should have been Leo Convoy. Even if they didn't name drop him, that should have been the Lion, right?
Or Big Convoy.
Yeah. It should have been one of those guys.
Yeah.
I just don't see why. I mean, visually, it might have been a little harder to get a woolly mammoth to fight, but I think a lion fighting would have looked very cool against Scourge. Another thing that kind of stuck out to me was, I love Peter Dinklage. He is great. I love Coleman Domingo in Fear the Walking Dead. But their voices get lost. And there was only like 2 times where I really picked up where Scourge was talking like, oh yeah, that's Peter Dinklage. And every time Unicron spoke, I'm like, I couldn't figure out who it was. I'm like, what And until I looked at the credits, I'm like, oh, Coleman Domingo, I know him. But yeah, I mean, they're so synthesized. It's just hard to tell. But speaking of voices, a guy who I don't like in general is Pete Davidson. But wow, he stole the show. He was amazing in this film. I mean, he did a pretty good job too in The King of Staten Island. I don't like him as a person, but man, the guy has talent, and he killed it as Mirage. He killed it.
Yeah, the voice casting when that was announced, people were like, "What?" But that was, pitch perfect in terms of the voice casting. It fit the character just right. It fit the mood for the movie. It was really nice to have a viewpoint main transformer that could talk. Because so long we've had Bumblebee just saying the radio lines, and it's been so frustrating. So to have this, Mirage character being entertaining, to me, he was the best part of the movie. Like it's a toss up to me between the basic visuals of the movie and Pete Davidson as Mirage are my two favorite things walking out of the theater.
And
Rick, you muted yourself.
did it bother anyone that they actually showed Mirage in his G1 alt mode? Or like,
It didn't bother me at all. It was neat.
It was kind of like a tease. I'm like, oh, what? But like, why? Why do that?
To let us know that they at least are aware of, his original alt mode, as opposed to Bay, who gave no shits and didn't ever care to give any sort of fan service. It was nice. It was a nice little, hey, we're not completely ignoring you guys.
Yeah. Does the presence of an actual licensed portion of this mean that we'll get a MP Jazz at some point?
They actually spoke about this not too long ago. They're willing to do Takara Tomi's willing to do the masterpiece, but they're waiting on Porsche to give the okay.
Yeah. Of course, like now that I actually bought the Fans Toys MP Jazz or Fans Toys Jazz, they'll actually do a Takara one. So
yeah, but I mean, when this all started with alternators, Porsche was like, no, we want nothing to do with you. You guys make weapons of war. We want nothing to do with you. Volkswagen was the same way. And, look at us now, right? Money talks.
Yeah.
Mirage in the film actually has a power that relates to his name. Like Hound didn't do the invisibility thing in the last the Last Night or Age of Extinction. He didn't do the Mirage thing where he can make holograms and stuff. So Mirage kind of takes on that ability. So I thought it was cool that they gave Mirage an ability that not everybody else has.
Yeah.
But I didn't like how they actually reformatted him so he could be a dump truck.
Maybe that was a hologram.
Maybe in my head it was. And as much as I love this movie, like I'm picking it apart now. I still loved it. But where did the trailer go? Right? I thought it would have been great if the trailer just materialized the same way Mirage's holograms did. And it's just there behind Optimus as he's driving away from the big Unicron explosion.
What's funny was last night I found a clip on YouTube of like the final battle scene. And I was showing it to my 3-year-old. And it was like, someone just holding their cell phone up in the movie. Might have been the guy sitting in front of you, Rick. But not great quality, but for a 3-year-old watching it, it's like, he was enjoying it. Yeah, when he saw Optimus Prime like transform into his truck mode, he didn't have his trailer. He's like, where's his trailer? Why doesn't he have his trailer? My 3-year-old was very concerned about that.
I was waiting for like the trailer to be there and then not be there, and for either the kid or Mirage to go, where'd the trailer go? Like I felt like that was going to be in this film.
It would have been cool to have a shot like all the 86 movie where he's driving with his trailer and someone shoots stuff at him and he just like leaps out while his trailer's exploding.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, the last night, Optimus never transforms on screen in that film. Not once. He shows up at the end. He drives out of the smoke in vehicle mode already. But he never once transforms. And in this film, man, we got some great transformation sequences for Optimus. But speaking of Optimus, did anyone else get the vibe that he was a little assholey in this film?
So the deleted scene supposedly explains that. The deleted scene sort of shows that the Decepticons have been messing with him and just been continuously like harassing him while he's been on Earth. And you know, I do think my complaints about this movie might be resolved by a extended cut. You know, that thinness that I thought the movie had might be helped by 10, 15 more minutes of the movie.
So
But
what was the
these
deleted
points were
scene?
addressed.
Like, I mean, he just seemed like more of a murderous prick, and he was in Dark of the Moon, where he says, "We must kill them all."
I don't think I mean, to me, Bay, one of the curses of Michael Bay is he turned Prime into this like Schwarzenegger-esque action hero who's got to, you know, blow everyone up. Which, you know, even Peter Cullen has said that he doesn't feel that that's kind of how Prime should behave. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. I agree with you, Rick. I don't think it was nearly as bad as some of the Bay movies, how he's been characterized, but I mean, he does smash Scourge's face in the lava.
They mention this in the movie. They say that RC is explaining it to somebody that, you know, he feels like he's failed and he's like a dad or a bit older brother, and he feels like getting everyone stuck on Earth or whatever, hiding on Earth. He feels like he's let everyone down. He just wants to go home, and he even, when he finds out that Primal and the gang are friends with some humans, some indigenous folks, where they're hiding. He's like, wait, you trust these humans? So there's some growth there for Optimus. He starts the movie not trusting humans and like really down on himself and down on everyone around him because, you know, he feels like his mission has failed. And then by the end of the movie, he not only learns to trust Mirage, who he has no faith in at the beginning of the film, but he learns to trust the Maximals, you know, who were adversarial at first, and he learns to trust the humans, who he had to entrust to help save him and his pals. There was an arc there. It was not as fleshed out as it could have been with another 10 or 15 minutes of footage. True, but there was an arc there. Not an arc like a big spaceship that crashes into the moon or a volcano or anything like that, but a character arc. I know they're spelled differently.
That is more than I gave it credit for, Peter. So thank you for pointing that out.
Well, the villain Scourge was, I think, a good choice, getting away from. I think Decepticons are in the film, right? You see the badge symbol, you see the Predacon badge symbol, but I don't think the word Decepticons even mentioned once in the film. I think they did a good job of kind of just putting them to rest and then going into who I would imagine that in the next film, the Predacons are going to be the bad guys. Because we know that the sequel's been essentially greenlit. There's, we'll talk about that other thing too. Mm-hmm. There'll be another team up, but the Maximals are coming back, and I think a great way to get away from, you know, Megatron, Starscream, and Soundwave, let those characters rest, and bring on the Predacons. And I was almost like, I went into this movie thinking, all right, I know that there's like a post-credit scene, but I'm not sure what it is. I kind of half expected for Scourge.
Well, hold on. Before you dive into that, let me come back to your point about Scourge, Rick. And Ron brought up a point in the chat that I agreed with. There was a lot of like build up about Scourge and his mask, and then his mask comes off, and I thought it would be like some sort of reveal. Like, is this a Prime from another dimension? Is this like someone we've known or seen before? And it's like, no, he just did.
No, he was Snoke from The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
That's how bad that movie was. That villain came over to our movie. But yeah, so like I wanted to say that I went into this movie thinking, all right, there's a post-credit scene. I kind of expected Scourge to live, and I thought the mask would be ripped off, and I kind of thought that either Scourge would reformat, or underneath the mask you would find out that he's Beast Wars Megatron. And he's like, maybe the way to defeat the Maximals is to unleash the beast or something, or launch my own Beast Wars. And I just kind of thought that, that'd be a cool stinger, and I was kind of half expecting it. So I was a little disappointed with the whole Mirage got built out of trash. They basically made Mirage a Junkion at the end of the film.
Or Spike's going to go into his body at some point.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool how Mirage became the Pretender suit. I mean, let's call it that. An exosuit, Pretender suit.
Yeah.
For, what's the kid's name? Noah, yeah. He became a suit for Noah.
And it looked just like the Pretender Jazz suit, which with Mirage looking as much as he did like Jazz, it was a great nod. It was well executed, well done. Where did the tires go? But I thought that, they killed Mirage. And I was okay with that. I'm like, all right, that was a great character we had for one film, but they killed him. But his death served a purpose. And I was okay with it. And then at the end, they bring him back to life by, apparently now Noah can use human car parts to rebuild a Transformer.
Yeah, Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Zaldron also brings up another thing that I did not enjoy, which was the resurrection of Bumblebee. The Bumblebee death seemed like you'd seen in the trailers the scene with Bumblebee jumping out of stratosphere and blasting all the little spheres. So you kind of knew his death wasn't going to stick. But, it's one of those things that, like, oh crap, they killed Bumblebee. And then it seemed very cheap, both in the way he was resurrected and the fact that you knew he wasn't going to stay dead.
You know what the problem with Bumblebee was? Is that he had to be in the film. This would have been the exact same film if Bumblebee wasn't in it.
No, I think it would have been better if he didn't come back to life.
They didn't need Bumblebee. Bumblebee didn't need to be in this movie, but he was in the movie because he's the second most popular character.
But it shows the movie has stakes if you let his death stick, at least through this movie. You could do a search for Spock thing where you bring him back in the next
one. Yeah, and he's Goldbug or something. Or maybe
they could just leave him dead and let us know that it's a completely different universe and that we can, have hope again.
Yeah, or they bring him back and they rebuild him, but you're more than just a Bumblebee. You're a hot rod now. That seems to fit the movie universe. All right.
You're a hot shot.
Oh, a hot shot. Yeah, you're a hot shot now. Should we transition into the other big reveal that I did not see coming, but as the scene was progressing, I'm like, oh, that would be cool if it's not Sector 7.
I thought it was going to be Sector 7.
I thought it was going to be Sector 7. So we're talking about the scene where Noah goes for the job interview, and halfway through the interview, the guy flips the script and starts saying, hey, we know you saved the world. We know you helped. We're going to take care of your brother. So Noah's motivation to go to war with the Autobots was his brother and saving his brother and his family. Now his motivation to join the next team is what they did for his brother, getting him the health care he needs. So it's revealed that the people that are looking over Noah, kind of recruiting him into their service, was not Sector 7, but it was in fact G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
It was G.I. Joe, and you actually see the G.I. Joe movie logo on the guy's business card. They go to the actual pit for G.I. Joe. It's
you see what could be the pit. The dude, he moves a plaque on the wall that says "Real American Hero."
Oh, I didn't
And then
realize that's what it said.
It said, like, I was like, this is Sector 7. This is so lame. Sector 7. Wait, maybe it's not Sector 7. Maybe it's not Sector 7. Then he touches that Real Hero thing, and I was like, and then it opened up, and then it, like, my mind was blown. I was in Augusta. I watched this show in Augusta because I was in Augusta for Joe Fest, and it, like, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now because it blew my freaking mind. It was so good. So good.
That was
in the original comic
my
book.
favorite scene in
the
movie.
pit was in New York City, and that's where this is.
Staten Island,
right? So I thought it was perfect that the pit was in New York City, and that, yeah, it looks like the pit, but it also looked like the pit from the first G.I. Joe movie too. And they were working on some kind of vehicle. It looked like it was maybe an alien vehicle that they were trying to crack open or something. It kind of reminded me of the vehicle from Battleship.
I don't remember that vehicle well enough.
Just move on from Battleship.
Yeah, so
just keep going. Keep going.
If there was if they had a classic Joe vehicle in the background, it would have been really, really cool.
A Skyhawk. Just put a Skyhawk there, just sitting there next to the thing, because they kind of,
or or like the Triple T or something.
Striker. Yeah, something.
Yeah, although it would kind of be weird to see a Sky Striker fly out of New York.
Or like the
Striker.
G.I. Joe
Striker.
Badger.
Striker. Yeah, I want a Badger, or just anything. Just yeah.
So
G.I. Joe Havoc.
So we're setting it up for the next film to be Transformers with a little G.I. Joe in it. Not a whole lot of G.I. Joe.
I don't know that we are. I think they're just letting us know that G.I. Joe's not dead.
Well, I think
we know we botched Snake Eyes.
Said that the next one it's a Transformers movie, but we can't flush out a whole G.I. Joe world in a Transformers movie. There's got to be elements of it. So
they couldn't flesh out a world in 3 G.I. Joe movies.
Yeah, I know.
So
I fully expect for there to be some sort of G.I. Joe element in there. How crazy would it be, though, if Sector 7 was really Cobra?
I'd rather
leave
just
Sector
leave
7
Sector 7. Yeah, just retire it. Now his code name is Sonic, right? We can all agree that his code name is Sonic. His Joe code name when he gets it.
Oh, I was thinking he was gonna be because Sonic the Hedgehog, and he calls his brother Tails. That would make sense.
But he's also an army commo dude, and all the there's like mainframe, dial tone, breaker. All of those are comm related.
Yeah,
names.
I was kind of thinking, comm mainframe, but I was really thinking they were going to call him Sci-Fi.
Maybe that suits similar to it.
Yeah, I got a feeling Noah's going to come back for the next. I hope Noah comes back. I thought that actor did a great job playing Noah. I would love to see him come back again for the next one, expand his role. The mom is the same mom who plays Miles Morales' mom in the Spider-Verse movies.
Yep. So can I pause on that note real quickly while you brought that up? I haven't
seen it yet.
I know.
I haven't seen.
So this is maybe one of the reasons why I was kind of meh about Rise of the Beast, is that the week before I saw Across the Spider-Verse, and Across the Spider-Verse is one of the greatest things I've ever seen on the screen ever. Like it's mind-blowingly good. What are you? Oh, you're holding up a bunch of G.I. Joe toys. Okay. That doesn't have anything to do with Across the Spider-Verse. You know what has a lot to do with Across the Spider-Verse? This has a lot to do with Across the Spider-Verse. It's just a big honking cyborg Spider-Woman who's got Battletrap's gun.
And
Hey,
she was only like in
that's
the
the thing I saw in stores.
Yeah.
That was the thing I saw in the toy aisle, and I was like, oh, well, there's
This
a
was
spoiler.
actually something I did get successfully for a really good price from Bullseye Deals. Spider-Verse is just so good.
It was
Um,
it was a really great movie, yes.
yeah.
But I mean,
So I
if
think
we're
that
going to
colored
take a
my
side note
opinion.
and talk about Spider-Verse, they should not have made Spider-Verse. They should have just made the Gwen Stacy movie.
They will. They're making a Spider-Woman movie, they said. But my point being is that Across the Spider-Verse was... Oh, Peter, your buddy's here. Your buddy's in the chat, Peter. So Across the Spider-Verse was so good, it was very difficult for Rise of the Beast to compete with it. And so that might be the reason I feel so like kind of, Rise of the Beast was decent. So I'll stop there. But yes, same actress. Very, very kind of odd coincidence.
Yeah, so she was in 2 different #1 movies. She was in last week's #1. She's in this week's #1.
Wasn't she in
playing
Dexter?
basically the same character?
Like
I forget
20
what her
freaking years ago?
credits are.
Look it up.
She was also in Dexter.
That's what Peter said.
That's what I just said.
Oh,
You're grounded.
She was in Dexter. Back when it was good.
Like, I just want her to now be in like the Flash movie and Indiana Jones and just,
Right.
The new Pixar movie Elementals. Like, just every movie that comes out in the month of June, she's got a role in. Doesn't have
She's
to
the
be a
mom.
big role.
She's the
Yeah.
mom.
You're right. Exactly. She's got to be a mom. She's got to be a mom in all of this. She's gonna play like Supergirl's mom, or no, she'll play Martha and be killed in a flashback scene in the Flash.
Why did you say that name? Right. Flash goes back in time, changes it so that she's the mom now.
Yes.
So, see, you just made me lose my train of thought. I had a point I want to make.
We can't maintain. We should not be allowed in this podcast to maintain a cohesive train of thought or streamline
every one of us
we
have
were so
ADHD.
good. We were talking about Transformers: Rise of the Beast Wars, the whole movie. Oh, the Predator. This is what I wanted to mention. Then I wanted to steer back towards the movie. So we see the original Predacon logo in the film once, real quick. It's Scourge has killed a Predacon. He's taken their badges as he's kind of a lockdown type of character almost. And that's why I think the Predacons are going to show up next. I think they're going to be the villains next. David Kaye, he's a Union guy now. He could technically play Megatron, right? But there's other characters there's other names besides Megatron that you could use, right? So I think they'll expand on the Maximals, and the Autobots will kind of fade away a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Mirage movie at some point either, in the vein of Bumblebee.
I'd enjoy seeing a Mirage movie, in the vein of Bumblebee, where it is smaller scale. Have him as a Formula One race car in that, have him and Blur be buddies or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
And you introduce Mask in there too. Why not? RC, we haven't talked about her yet.
Well, hold on. Before we get to that, I'm really, really excited that both of you two are on tonight. Peter, because of the fact that you were at the JoeCon this weekend, so I'm curious to see if you got any reactions from that. And Rick, because you worked at Hasbro, and so you were involved when Hasbro was trying to do this, before, where Hasbro was trying to make the shared universe. So what is it like seeing this kind of come to fruition at this level, Rick?
I am very happy that they were able to execute it the way they did. I'm very happy. I'm very proud. I'm excited as a fan. It's re-energized my interest in G.I. Joe. So I think a little goes a long way. They had a perfect amount of G.I. Joe in this movie. I think the next one, you get, Noah's a part of the Joes, and there's one or two more characters with him.
I like that take.
Joe's work better when they're small teams.
Was anyone talking about this at the Joe convention?
I heard zero mention at the show.
Did they even know?
I don't know that it registered on. There were a lot of Transformers for sale at the show, but I don't know that it registered on anyone's radar. All the fans are people our age and older, and Transformers are not their primary. And Transformer movies have been historically meh, especially the last, prior to Bumblebee, the last 2 or 3.
Because G.I. Joe movies have been cinematic masterpieces.
No one really. I mean, even Joe fans don't like the Joe movies, so why would they? They're there for the almost pure nostalgia.
And you know what? That the Snake Eyes movie wasn't that bad. It was definitely the best out of all 3.
But who saw it? No one saw it because Hasbro didn't push it. No one cared. It was like, hey, it's premiering now on Delta Airlines.
Right. It was just, G.I. Joe just suffers from, the first one was a terrible movie. The second one was just like, hey, the movie comes out in 2 weeks. Psych, see you in a year, assholes. But here are all the toys. And then the third one's like, hey, here's COVID. So, we got stuck with, really bad timing for G.I. Joe. So I'm hoping that, having them latch on to Transformers a little bit at a time, build it up a little bit until there's actually a Joe movie. And when there is a Joe movie, I fully expect for Optimus to be in one scene saying, hey, we'll catch up again next time. Oh, and speaking of the Joes, I wouldn't be surprised if the Autobots show up as Joe vehicles or turn into Joe vehicles by the end of the next film.
I mean, that might be a reason why we're not getting like Optimus Prime HISS tanks that we want, because like we're working on that. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving Hasbro too much credit.
Well,
so Ron said it was funny in all the G.I. Joe Facebook groups that they were spoiling the reveal and seeing them, the G.I. Joe Facebook group members, complain. Which it doesn't shock me.
But complain about what? It's like, hey, you have to go see Transformers, G.I. Joe fans. Why? I can't tell you, wink, wink.
But no one wants to be the sidekick. No one wants to be the redheaded stepchild, of anything.
Do you remember at the end of Iron Man where Agent Coulson goes, yeah, we're the strategic homeland, something.
Yeah, we're working on it.
That's a mouthful. It's like, yeah, we're S.H.I.E.L.D. And he walks away. Like, boom, perfect introduction. That was basically what we had in this movie.
Well, and then you had Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury saying the Avengers Initiative. So that, but I agree with you, Rick. It is similar to that. But to Peter's point, there's a lot. The Venn diagram of Transformers fans and G.I. Joe fans does have a lot of crossover. But the folks who are in the circle that are just Joe fans are an angry bunch that, want to be their own thing. And if they don't have their way, they will storm the Capitol.
Listen, they didn't try a coup when Snake Eyes showed up without a shirt and lips on his mask. All right.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were very grouchy.
Which Snake Eyes was that?
That was the first movie.
First
In the
one,
first movie, he had nipples and he had a mouth on his face mask.
He had kissy lips.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
In
I
Rise
thought
of Cobra.
I thought Snake Eyes and Rise of Cobra looked kind of cool. It was Ray Park. It was Darth Maul.
Cobra Commander had that horrible helmet.
Oh yeah.
And then
Jay
they
Gordon
fixed it
Levitt.
for the
Like,
second
that's
one.
one of those like, hey, who played Cobra Commander in a movie? I don't know. Jay Gordon Levitt. Yeah. Yep. The guy from Third Rock from the Sun. That kid. He was Cobra Commander.
Hey, but he also played Robin in The Dark Knight Rises.
Maybe. We don't know that. Could have been Nightwing.
He could have been, well, yeah, his middle name was Robin, but he becomes Batman. He basically becomes Batman at the end of the movie.
You don't know that.
Well, he's so down when Joseph Gordon-Levitt becomes Batman.
Not. I'm just like, you're just insinuating that like from that one scene at the end of the movie, you're extrapolating a whole other continuity. And
all right, he inherits the Batcave.
Rick, will you just give us all what we want and just start unbuttoning your shirt while you're lying there in bed in front of us on camera? No, to my point though, like if this was reversed, and if this was reversed and it was a G.I. Joe movie and G.I. Joe was this big franchise, and all of a sudden like you see them like about to get into they get out of a car and the car transforms into a robot. Like, while I would be excited, I'd also kind of feel like, oh, I don't know. You're right. I would be more excited. I would be more excited than that. You're right.
I love shared continuities. I love what Marvel has done. There has never been anything like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm not sure that there ever will be anything quite like that again. All right. What they have accomplished over 29 films, it's amazing. All right. DC has tried, failed. A couple other characters here and there from other franchises shown up in other places, but if there was a Transformers cameo in Rise of Cobra, I would have been so happy with that. I'm sure the Joe fans would have been like, oh, why do they need to show up? Right? It's not their movie.
Even just mention them. Just offhanded mention of those robots in Las Vegas or Mission City or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so at one point, we even talked about Tyrese becoming Roadblock. And them saying, hey, for the G.I. Joe film, for the first G.I. Joe film, and there being a throwaway line, hey, were you the guy involved with that thing in Central City with the planes and stuff? He's like, I can't talk about that. Classified.
Yeah, and Central City is where the Flash lives.
Oh, well.
Mission City.
Mission City, yeah. Yeah, Mission City, yeah. Same city, same thing. So.
Filthy casual.
I think that would be another great way. Or when Josh Duhamel is running and he's about to attack Blackout in the alleyway, how great would it have been if he had yelled "Yo Joe"?
Yeah.
Right? Even if that's the only reference, that would have been great.
Wreck-Gar yelled "Yo Joe"
in the animated show.
He did when he was attacking the Dweller in the Depths.
Yes, well, that was an amazing performance by Weird Al.
Well, I said animated show, and so that made Rick think Weird Al, and you're talking about season 3, G1.
Talking about season 3, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Dweller in the Depths. Yep. I think at one point they're watching G.I. Joe on the TV, right?
They're watching G.I. Jack on the big broadcast of 2006.
Oh, G.I. Jack.
And they say, "Yo, Jack," and yeah, it's great.
Did you ever see
G.I. Jose?
Did you ever see the Toy Story spoof of G.I. Joe? Carl Weathers doing Combat Carl.
Combat Carl, and he's an O-ring figure too, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And like I love it because like they do like a PSA with him, and he's like, "Cough in your arm and do no harm." you haven't seen it, Peter, it's worth checking out.
You know what?
Yeah.
We've had 3 G.I. Joe movies, and they haven't done a PSA. Even as a DVD extra, that would have been great. Right?
Yeah.
Or to start
Like
the trailer off with that, or a post-credit scene.
Do it Talladega Nights style, where it's just like a blooper reel kind of thing.
Yeah, or you know, and that's where you put in all your corny stuff like "Yo Joe" and you put in the theme song in there.
Speaking of
lot of missed
theme
opportunities.
songs, every shot, every scene with Unicron, they played Vince DiCola's Unicron theme from the '86 movie, and I wondered while I was sitting through the credits if they were gonna give him credit for it, and they did, which was nice. And it was the first. It was the first track listed was Unicron's theme by Vincent DiCola, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
I didn't even notice that.
Every time he showed up, it did the, you know, I'm not gonna sing it, but like that like slow synth just and my fucking the goosebumps and the hairs on the back of my neck. I was like, this is good.
Oh
but
my god!
They didn't give me that punch. I didn't get the
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
I really felt that Unicron was kind of wasted in this movie.
But he serves a particular point, man. It's letting us know, like you said earlier, that this is not the same. Something's different. We've shifted up, which is why I would have been fine with Bumblebee staying dead. If now Earth is not Unicron and Bumblebee's croaked, you know we're in a completely something happened. And they even mentioned when they were talking about the transwarp key, which is the MacGuffin for the movie, that we can cross space, time, and universes. So they've set up in continuity a multiversal stream doodly boop, so we can go play wherever we want now. It's fully open for them to do whatever the fuck they want because nothing already made sense. So just go for it.
Which is what the Transformers Legacy line is.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Every movie negates the film before it.
Yeah.
Except this one.
I want to see a movie where both of Stanley Tucci's characters meet each other.
You know, they referenced Marky Mark in this film, which was another fun little moment.
They did.
Right, they did, and I didn't put that together.
And they even like scowled at it, like Marky Mark's gonna be an actor now. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So another reason why maybe I thought the movie was not as great, I was pretty intoxicated, which I have said repeatedly was my plan to go see the movie intoxicated, and then I would see it again sober. But my wife took my son to see it the second time versus me taking him to see it a second time for myself. So I've only seen it once. Maybe if I see it sober, I will, and have more of the feels that you're all talking about.
So now you have to take your secret family.
I'm like shocked that my wife took my son to see that. Like it was his first day of summer. She got out of work at noon that day, and she's like, "Oh, I just want to take him to go do something." And well. She's like, "What? Do you think could he watch the new Transformers movie? Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." Do you think? I'm like, "Do you think he'd want to see that or Spider-Man again?" Like, well, ask him.
Rather than let Dad do the thing that Dad loves to do with the boy. Oh yeah, Mom. Here comes Mom.
No, I was fine with it because I saw it the night before and was sort of mad on it. So, she got to spend some time with him, and it's not all You've got daughters, Rick, is Lucas and I have talked about this. My son is a little bit different than some other people in the chat and in the cast. I've created a mini me in my son, and my younger son is second mini me in the making. So yeah, they very much love all the nerd stuff that I do.
Please tell me more about mini me's.
Yes, you also have a mini me, Peter, and that's kind of frightening because I don't think there's a building that could house double the Infinity Closet.
Speaking of mini me's, we had what I guess was the Minicon dead end in the film.
I said that when we had the preview thing. I straight up said, I was like, did anyone notice that Unicron is dispensing bugs or dead end drones? And Bumblebee's flying around shooting them. But everyone's like, you don't know what you're talking about, Peter. You don't know references. You don't know what you're doing, Peter. And I was like, okay, I guess I don't know what I'm doing. I only, live in...
I agreed with that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Say it louder.
I agreed with that sentiment.
Look me in the eyes and say it loud.
I did think it was kind of weak how they didn't
Peter,
explain
I'm
the
sorry, not
beast
Peter. Rick, can you
modes.
get your phone off of the pillow? You're putting the microphone on the pillow.
So,
Thank you.
so I just kind of thought it was weak how they didn't really explain the beast modes in this. They were on another planet, and they already had the very Earth-like beast modes. So
Yeah, I didn't even realize that till just now.
I mean,
Unless
maybe
that
it was
like,
planet Gaia or planet whatever. I know Gaia ends up being Earth. I know.
I was
But maybe
fully
it's-
waiting for a name drop at some point.
Yeah.
And there was something that Air Razor said that I thought they were gonna go back to, and they never did. It was like, we're from your future and your past.
yeah.
So
and someone said, okay, that makes no sense, but whatever. Like they made a point to say that doesn't make sense, and then just kept on going.
Yeah.
right, and they never went back to it. So I kind of thought, oh crap, is that where the beast modes came from? They're from Earth from the future, and they went to the past.
Air Razor says that in her whole big speech when she turns into the robot and explains the past of the Maximals to Optimus and Bumblebee and Mirage. I'm sorry, Bumblebee's corpse.
They must have deleted that scene.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, so Air Razor never transforms, but she has as many lines as Optimus Primal.
Yeah.
She probably has more screen time than he does.
Give or take.
Maybe the same amount.
I'd say just about the same.
Yeah. And Stratosphere was the most Bay character in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when he transforms, he's got the head that looks like, like a cap and goggles from a World War II era pilot.
Yeah. And he's Bender the Offender.
Yeah.
Fudge, you just said something, and I had a train of thought, and I lost it.
The Stratosphere was a plane.
Yeah, no, we were talking.
We never talked. We
Air
haven't talked
Razor.
about
Oh,
RC.
So we have a Studio Series Air Razor toy. So the Studio Series toys are supposed to be like, this is exactly how they appeared in the film. But if she never had an alt mode in the film, how do we know that's what her alt mode looks like?
Extended Blu-ray cut.
All right.
So
You get a cookie, Peter.
let's
Yay,
talk
cookie.
the last two major characters that we should discuss. Is Pablo Honey and RC.
No. I think Nightbird and Battletrap should get some love too.
All
wanna
right.
let's-
That's fine.
Hang on, I'm gonna go get a cookie.
RC, great representation of RC. That's what RC should have been like back in Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Great representation. My only problem with RC was that she's very flippy, and everything she does involves a flip. She's fighting, she's going to flip. She's going to go over there and get a glass of water, she's going to flip. Right? She's always doing flips.
I was bummed we didn't get the comedic moment with her that you saw in the trailer where the female human lead was like kind of freaking out, and RC she's like, hey. That was a fun little.
I thought that was in the film.
Again, I was drunk.
Yeah, I thought that's where she does like the little peace sign. Yeah, I thought that was in there.
Peter, can you clarify for us? Was the scene in the trailer where the woman human character
Elena,
thank you. Elena is like having a panic attack about what's going on, and she looks over to her side, and RC gives a little wave, a little peace sign. Was that in the trailer or was that in the movie or just in the trailer?
I don't think that was in the movie. I don't remember the trailer, to be
I
honest.
thought it was in the movie.
It might have been, but I didn't get up or leave, and that was pretty sober.
You might have Mandela affected the thing, Rick, where you'd seen that scene so many times in the commercials and trailers that you just assumed it was there.
I'll never forget her character's name because that's my wife's name.
Oh,
And then there's Pablo Honey, Frank's TV. So a lot of the toys, a lot of the merchandise, Frank's TV on the side of it. But in the film, it says Pablo's TV on the side of it. And we had such a great visual representation of Wheeljack in the last film to then just go. Stratosphere had a very Bay-esque head. Wheeljack had a very Bay-esque design.
yeah.
It's like, let's just make a character and we'll find a name for him.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Wheeljack.
Yeah.
Someone at some point before the movie came out said, oh, it looks like his glasses flip out and become the things on the side of his head, like the G1. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clever. But that never happens in the film.
Some little fins kind of go "Wheek" for half a shot. "Wheek."
Yes. And the only reason I kind of even noticed that is because someone had freeze framed on that from a commercial or trailer.
Yeah, but I think they're more like Optimus fins. They're not like sideways.
I agree, Rick, with that sentiment that was a very Michael Bay-esque move of just slap a name on some random transformer.
These might be old
Slap
designs
reference.
that they were palling around with, you know. You just had something in a hard drive somewhere. They're like, that could be, I don't know, throw a dart, wheel.
I mean, you could call him Ratchet.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a van.
Yeah, everything about him, I didn't even put that together. I mean, he was basically Ironhide in Ratchet's vehicle mode.
I don't even know if he was Ironhide. I don't know.
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah.
But he transforms into a robot. He's got glasses, and then his seatbelts become suspenders.
Yeah. But they don't even then touch on that. That's not part of his character. And then my wife pointed out, because my wife is Mexican, and they're like, you've got this accent, but then you say, like, I don't speak Spanish. Like, but you're in South America, and you've got a Spanish accent. Like, what? Why would you be in South America and not speak Spanish?
Maybe he spoke Brazilian.
Yeah.
Maybe he spoke Portuguese, not Brazilian.
Portuguese, yeah.
My wife picked up on that too.
Yeah.
So my wife's like, I think they did a point of saying that, because why do all these characters have accents? Why do NASCAR wreckers have Australian accents? Right? So I think that was kind of a way to like acknowledge why do any of these robots have accents?
Well, when you're in South America,
right?
It's all right. You're right. I kind of see what you're getting at. Just my wife is a native Spanish speaker. Thought that was awkward.
They speak every human language.
Yeah.
Right? I don't believe that they only speak one human
Even
language.
before they get to Earth, they speak English.
So wait a minute. They don't scan the World Wide Web until 2007. So this is 1994 or 5 or whatever. The World Wide Web was a thing.
Yeah, Al Gore invented it.
I know.
It's a movie.
I was there when he did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't play that Rough Riders anthem during the film, because that song didn't come out until like 4 years after the movie was set, and that was frustrating me on the preview. The stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop thing. I was like, they're fucking everything up. They're fucking everything up in the preview, and they're letting us know ahead of time that they're fucking everything up, and then they didn't.
They did give us a Whoop There It Is reference at one point.
They did.
Yeah. Pete Davidson dropping that nostalgia bomb on us.
Yeah, and he did steal the show,
Yeah.
but some of the references were a bit annoying.
So, like, as much as we didn't really get much out of Cheetor and Rhinox, like the scene where Rhinox turns into a robot and has that hammer and is just beating the snot out of those Terracons, that was sweet. That was really cool to see. And then I love Nightbird's visuals with her purple just trails and the purple highlights with her look great. And then her purple matched with the orangish yellow of Battletrap was a really good color combo of those two.
Yeah. And Nightbird could fly in robot mode.
Yeah.
I don't see why they should have just made her a triple changer.
I'm fine with her just having the one car mode.
They had a triple changer in the last movie.
Yeah.
You know?
And,
I liked how all three of them, Scourge and Battletrap and Nightbird, were just so freaking imposing, and the Autobots stood no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just an absolute shit show. They showed up, they're like, hey, we're here for the thingy, and the Autobots are like, you won't get that thingy, we got to get the thingy, and then just absolute chaos on Governor's Island or whatever. Yeah.
Scourge beat the shit out of Optimus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was nothing.
Yeah. It was very a la the first episode of Transformers the Animated Series, where it takes like the whole team to defeat Starscream.
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't read it, I've talked about the deleted scene a few times. The deleted scene, and I think this came out today, was today or last night, was involving a Decepticon, not a Terracon, a Decepticon named Transit, who turns into a bus. Which, I mean, like, do you name yourself like on Cybertron? Like, I guess I have to transform to some sort of commuter vehicle. Like
Rhinox
has to be. Well, yeah, same thing.
Cheetor?
Yeah. So, anyways, Optimus Prime is walking through this bus yard, defeats this Decepticon Transit, and throws his body into the Hudson River. And like very easily lays waste to Transit. And then the idea is that instead of the Decepticons know he's on Earth, they're sort of taunting him by sending like, you know, run of the mill sort of thugs, Decepticon, like, you know, minions at him one after another to just taunt him. And that's one of the reasons Optimus is so angry. But again, it kind of, I think that would have been even more so to make the Terracons more menacing in terms of seeing Optimus so easily dispatch a Decepticon and then have the Terracons come in and just wreck house.
Yeah. And we had an army of Scorponauts.
Yeah.
Army of Scorponauts and an army of Frenzies.
And there was like one other, was like, I don't know if it was Scorponaut, but there was something that was like asymmetrical looking with like a bigger arm kind of thing. I couldn't tell if that was Scorponaut or something different.
They had no weight to them, any of them. They were all just hack and slash fodder.
Yeah, and I like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, cool. There's an army of Scorponauts. One's gonna get left, and that'll be Scorponaut. But no, nothing matters. It didn't matter. Nothing matters.
Frenzy just happens to look like the Freezer guys, and Scorponaut just happens to look like Unicron's Scorponaut drones.
Yeah.
I mean, all humans kind of look alike. Why can't Cybertronians look similar?
Good point. I did notice for the first time when Cheetor transformed, he did have like Transmetal vibes. Like he kind of had the Transmetal body, and he didn't have that regular the Cheetor body that I'm so accustomed to seeing. He had the silhouette of his Transmetal robot mode.
I've always thought he was.
I wish he would have said, "I am transformed" when he popped, and then like Botanica would have shown up and Night Scream.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But they did say maximize.
Yeah, but I didn't think he had Transmetal vibes. I thought he had Beast Machines vibes, and maybe that's what you meant, Rick. If you didn't, you should have meant that because that's the correct.
No,
thing
he had Transmetal vibes, but I think the head was a little Beast Machines-y.
He had abs too, which Beast Machines Cheetor had. I mean, come on, man. The guy doesn't practice.
No mention of Rat Trap or Dinobot.
Although Wheeljack did say we're all gonna die.
Yes, and I wasn't sure if that was just if they were being clever or if it's just the line that he said. And I kind of don't want to give them credit for him saying that.
I think they knew what they were doing. I think they didn't want to animate or introduce another Maximal. They could have just had Rat Trap running around, I guess. But we're all gonna die, and a Beast Wars movie is pretty on point.
Yeah,
I think I'm glad they didn't do Rat Trap because I was worried that Rat Trap would be the Wheelie type character. You know, he's going to show up humping somebody's leg. You know,
Yeah.
or eating someone's trash, or somebody vomits and he's like, "You gonna eat that?"
So this
He
was
could just be another New Yorker.
This was another one of my complaints with the movie, that until the
Danny
end,
DeVito would have played him.
that would have been funny. But until the end with the reveal of G.I. Joe, there were not really any surprises in this movie, and I was a little bummed about that. I would have liked to have seen one character that we didn't see during all the trailers and stuff.
True, there was not. Yeah, you're right. Every character that's in this film was in the trailers, except for Ape Link. But pictures did leak.
No, and Ape Link was in the final trailer even.
He was?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
They released a trailer like a week or two before the movie came out, and Ape Link was in it. And in press stuff, it was mentioned that it's Ape Link.
All right, I just thought that was Optimus Primal.
Yeah, no, it was like I went into the movie like expecting to see Ape Link. It's kind of weird.
Ape Link, what a name! Like Ape Link, Rhinox, Cheetor. I mean, you know, the Autobots by that naming convention should be like door, bumper, wheels, spoiler.
We have a bumper. We have a spoiler. Well, those are GoBots.
Yeah.
We have a wheelie.
We have a wheelie. Yeah.
You know, floor mats.
Headrest.
Yeah. Yeah. Fog light.
Crankcase.
Yeah. Gear shift.
Yeah.
Camshaft.
Brake
Anti-lock
pads.
brakes.
Transform.
Downshift.
Rick's got a whole fan fiction written about a character he created called Headlights.
Yeah. Yeah. Headlights, and his best friend is Headlights.
Yeah, Headlights and Tailpipe.
Yep. And
Tailpipe's a GoBot.
Right.
Oh, and boy, does Tailpipe go.
Tailpipe's a really expensive GoBot if it's the
So
variant.
watching the film where they're on the Beast Wars planet, I don't know why, but I almost felt like they're gonna name drop Gobatron. They're gonna name drop it. That's gonna be their planet's name. It's gonna be Gobatron. But they never named the planet. And thank God they didn't name it like New Cybertron or something.
Have either of you two seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie yet?
I have. It was very good.
I
haven't
enjoyed
seen
it.
it.
And I am like very, very much like ignorant to most Dungeons and Dragons stuff. But like what I did find is like they were dropping Easter eggs every moment they could in that movie. I mean, you could do that a little bit in the Transformers movie, a little bit more fan service, like not the stupid like you said Wheeljack fan service kind of thing, but yeah, throwing like the name of a planet is Gobatron or something like you said, Peter, that plaque says the real American hero. I enjoy that kind of fan service, like, and I think Dungeons and Dragons did that really, really well, of dropping in fan service stuff that's not integral to the plot at all, but if you know what it is and you're paying attention, you'll be like, every other second you're like, holy crap.
And it was a great movie.
Yeah. Thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, the whole time when he sneaks into the parking garage to steal Mirage, I kept thinking, oh man, they could have had Sideswipe there. They could have had Sunstreaker there. They, could have had Wheeljack there. They could have had all the, they could have had Windcharger. All
you could have the crazy Japanese
there.
car that Hot Rod's based off of.
Yeah, they could have all the nice G1 cars.
The Dome Zero.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I think we pretty much nailed Rise of the Beast. Phil, would you recommend Rise of the Beast to?
I would say if you're a Transformers fan, yes. I was somewhat, met on it, but I would still, if you like Transformers, I'd recommend it. My wife saw it. She couldn't give a hoot about this. She's like, yeah, it was entertaining.
Peter, would you recommend Rise of the Beast Wars?
Rise of the Beasts, it gets my whole full throated endorsement.
I approve. I have no idea why it's called Rise of the Beasts.
I mean, they stand up at one point. They're sitting
But
and then they stand up. So they're rising.
I tend to think anything with the title Rise of is going to be a crappy movie. But I enjoyed this.
I want to quickly before we adjourn for the evening, talk about something that is hitting tomorrow and that I am curious to see if it will tie into all of this. And that is the Energon universe. So, for those of you who do not know, tomorrow at your comic book shops, if you like Transformers or if you like G.I. Joe, go to your comic book shop tomorrow and buy the book Void Rivals. Void Rivals is a book by Image, by Skybound. It is Robert Kirkman who's writing it, the guy who created Walking Dead, the guy who created Road Invincible. Dude is a giant Transformers fan. He's got a ton of bona fides in terms of, just being an outstanding writer. The artist on it is got, a ton of great work behind him. Void Rivals is not a name that you would recognize, but a backdoor way of crazy marketing thing that he did to introduce the fact that Skybound is now the license holder for Transformers and G.I. Joe comics. And they are creating something that is called the Energon universe. So we are going to get, I believe, a 6-issue story of Void Rivals. And then starting in the fall, we're going to get a new Transformers comic and a new Cobra Commander comic and a new Duke comic. And they're all under the banner of what is called the Energon universe. And I'm curious, will this be referred to that as Marvel has the MCU? Will this be the theatrical Energon universe that has started with Rise of the Beasts?
I would just call it the Bumblebee universe because it started with Bumblebee.
I mean,
the
you could say that, but
it's the Bumbleverse.
We might get, Hasbro might decide otherwise, that your Bumbleverse idea is not, but sometimes the internet names things and it sticks. So Rick, you can start that marketing campaign.
I could care less.
But yes, in some of the promo images, Hasbro has called this the Energon universe. And I think we had like one slight hint of this, like literally a couple of weeks ago, in the teasers for the new G.I. Joe HasLab. The new G.I. Joe HasLab is the helicopter, the G.I. Joe helicopter, and for like a couple of weeks, the Dragonfly. Thank you. A couple of weeks, thank you, Peter. I was blanking on that, and I just said helicopter. Because the new helicopter was right, and if I said the wrong name, then I feel like an idiot. But in the build-up for them announcing the G.I. Joe Dragonfly as the HasLab, they were doing all these, like, some of them were really dumb, by the way. They were doing all these things like Hasbro, like Cobra and G.I. Joe were intercepting communications between each other. And like there was one, the really dumb one was that Cobra had like intercepted a screenshot of a Zoom meeting between Hasbro and G.I. Joe, and they made a picture of that, and it was really silly. But one of the leaked messages from that was saying, according to Destro, unfortunately for our mole rats, the dark energon crystals have proven unstable. So Hasbro, even in some of their copy for the toys, is starting to lay the framework for this energon
Bumbleverse,
and is now in the movies, and I'm curious to see what comes of all this.
The BCU,
and
the Bumblebee Cinematic Universe.
Now here's a question I have for you guys. The Dragonfly has met its initial funding goal. We have seen the first of the stretch goals, being a Night Force version of a character that never had a Night Force version of it, but whatever. Could we see a Transformer as one of the stretch goals?
No chance.
No chance?
No
Okay.
chance. No,
That's fair. That's fair.
no chance.
I'm on board for Wild Bill.
But if they make a character and he's got the Megatron gun, then I'm out $235.
No, it's like $275 actually.
Oh, well, even worse.
What if they do one of the More Than Human guys?
They won't. But then again, if they do Old Snake, you know.
Oh, you
I
mean
guess you're right.
Only Human.
Only Human. I'm sorry. Only.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's call it a night.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. For those attending, Poopy Doopy, thank you again for gracing us with your pooptacular presence. Ron, Zaldron, we always appreciate you coming in here. And for everyone else who is just observing and not commentating, please join us, commentate. We got some book club stuff going on Sundays. Anna's Anime Academy, Super God Master Force, episodes 3 and 4. That will be happening this coming weekend. So spend Father's Day watching some Japanese Transformers cartoons. We'll be back next week. Lucas hopefully will be back. He signed up for a 7-day marathon of Rise of the Beast. So I'm curious to get his take on the movie after he's seen it 752 times. But with that, thank you again, everybody, and hit like, smash that like. In fact, hit subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications when we're on. Do all that other stuff that all the YouTubers that my son watches.
Follow us in real life.
Yes.
Come to our houses.
Yes.
Stop us when we're in the middle of a street with our families.
But stop stealing Rick's dog. That wasn't cool, man. Zaldron, don't steal Rick's dog again.
I got my dog back. That's all that matters.
Well, I mean, Zaldron, we all ponied up to pay that ransom that Zaldron was charging. So
I'm pretty sure it's the same dog, though. Like 90% sure it's the same dog too. So we're pretty excited.
Just don't give it a bath. Then the spray paint washes off.
All right. Good night, everybody.